1. I chased Felix for 5 years. Louis chased Dale for 5 years too. On New Year's Eve, I waited for Felix at the movie theater, but he didn't show. He was at the amusement park waiting for Dale, who also didn't show. What we both got instead was a surprise announcement on social media. In the end, we both agreed when he said, "Why don't we just get together? We know each other so well." I was silent for a moment, then nodded, "Okay." Then we rushed into wedding planning. Getting dresses, choosing venues, picking dates, sending invitations. We wanted to marry before they did. While I was busy with venue decisions, Felix came to my door. He stood there, biting his lip with red-rimmed eyes, asking, "Are you serious? Are you really going to marry Louis? Have you thought this through?" On New Year's Eve, I was in the mall on Main Street, watching balloons float up as countless couples hugged. Tickets in hand, snow falling lightly, my heart felt heavy. Years spent liking Felix and nothing to show for it. My phone buzzed. I glanced at it. It was a message from Louis, Felix's brother. She didn't show either. I had known Felix and Louis since we were kids. Eventually, I liked Felix. Louis liked my roommate. We encouraged each other, but alas, on this New Year's Eve, neither of our stories worked out. With a heavy sigh, just as I was about to leave, Louis called. It was noisy on his end, but his raspy voice was clear. "Did you see my brother and Dale's post?" he asked. A bad feeling hit me. My hand trembled over the phone, hesitating to check. But I knew things wouldn't be the same once I did. Eventually, I looked. So many lovebirds posting tonight, but there it was staring back at me. A photo of Felix and Dale in school uniforms, beaming at the camera. Louis and Dale stood on the school field, happy, contrasting sharply with my few smiling pictures with Felix, and Dale's reluctance to be in photos with Louis. Dale was my high school classmate. During a turbulent time with her family, we ended up in the same dorm. I wouldn't go home either, so my parents asked Felix and Louis to bring me stuff. That's how Dale got close to them. But when did those two start liking each other? Somehow, Louis and I became the fools, running towards the flames. Lumps caught in my throat, choking any words from coming out. Louis was silent on the other end, too. After what seemed like forever, he asked, "You still at the theater?" I muttered, "Yeah." "Wait for me, I'll get us new tickets, okay?" "All right," I replied. Feeling a bit pathetic, but having him share in it made it bearable. While waiting for Louis, my mind was blank. No memories of them came up. I didn't cry. Everything was just happening too fast. Finally, I saw Louis appear on the escalator. Earlier, he dyed his hair red for a fresh start, saying it represents new beginnings. I thought of doing the same but ended up with a milk tea brown instead. Seeing me, he quickened his pace. I waved at him, "Help me up, my legs are numb." He pulled me up, looked at me with a grin. "You held it together, no tears." I shook off the numbness. It was an oddly bittersweet sensation. "Yeah, you too." He waved, "Let's go, it's time." We didn't bring it up again. After the movie, he walked me home. Later, showered and in bed, I saw a message from Dale. "Adora, I'm with Felix now. Are you mad?" With a sigh, I texted back, "No." Her choice was hers, even if it was Felix. I just wished she had shared her feelings with me. After years of listening to my stories about Felix, they ended up together. My chest was tight with heartache and rage. It wasn't about her being with Felix. It was that she never told me she liked him too. All those shared moments of my silly pursuit. Was she silently mocking my hopelessness? Suddenly, she seemed so unfamiliar and frightening. As if expecting my response, she replied, "Sorry, Adora. I'm relieved you're not mad. I just didn't know how to tell you." The text went on, but I left the chat, removing her from my favorites. She also asked, "Want to grab barbecue tomorrow at that place on Center Street?" Testing the waters, checking if I was upset. But we wouldn't stay friends. My feelings didn't matter to her anymore. "Not today, I'm tired, need sleep." Some time passed, and instead of Dale replying, Felix sent a message. I pursued Dale first, I liked her first. Don't be mad at her, please don't take it out on her. What can I say? I once deeply loved Felix, heart overflowing. But one night changed it all. It now makes me sick. No way their relationship was a sudden whim. I felt like they watched me and Louis from afar like a circus show, enjoying our attention, only to turn and say, "Thanks for the feelings, but we're not interested." I can deal with all outcomes, but I can't accept that the person I've liked for so many years is actually a lousy person. In the end, I didn't reply. I just sent screenshots of these 2 messages to Louis, along with the caption, "Got anything like this?" A little while later, Louis sent me one back. It was from Dale to him, basically thanking him for liking her all these years. Louis, can you believe that in 5 years she never told me she liked my brother? Adora, we're not that dumb, right? Knowing they like each other and still having feelings for them. Chased after them for 5 years. Liked them for even longer. I said it's just my bad luck running into them. I don't want to see them anymore, but I bet I will tomorrow. And when I do, I'll have to say it's all good and pretend it doesn't matter. I feel fake, but that's what they need to feel satisfied. As I typed out these words, I felt a surge of irritation and wanted to just block them. Same here. My brother even knocked on my door just now asking if I was asleep. I didn't answer. Just thinking about it is exhausting. I'm not even that sad. After so many years of liking her, I've kind of gotten over it. Still sucks though. Why did it have to be those 2? Why do they get to do stuff like this? Suddenly an idea popped into my head. And the next second Louis called me too. Since we were kids, we both always had wild ideas, often on the same wavelength. You think. I nodded. You say it. Louis cleared his throat. Wanna get together? We know each other pretty well. I paused for a second, and even though he couldn't see me, I nodded. Sure. We should get married before they do. Don't worry, I got this. I never knew Louis could move so fast. Last night I couldn't even squeeze out a tear for the years I'd wasted. And I was emo, questioning if my feelings for Felix had faded during those hopeless years. Then this morning my mom started banging on my door like crazy, louder and louder each time. Mom, what are you doing? I opened the door, looking a mess, and before I could complain, she covered my mouth. My dear, hurry up and get ready quick. I was half asleep, struggling to open my eyes. What's the rush? Your boyfriend is here to propose, she whispered, giddy with excitement. My mom used to pressure me to date and get married, even trying to set me up on blind dates. Seeing Louis here to propose must have made her super happy. What? I was startled awake immediately. No way. I peeked downstairs, and there were familiar faces and gold shining under the crystal chandelier. I got ready at lightning speed and headed downstairs. Mrs. Smith greeted me with a warm smile, gesturing for me to join for breakfast. Adora, come over and eat. We brought this back from the tea house. She turned to my mom with an apologetic smile. Jane, sorry for showing up out of the blue like this. Hope we didn't scare you. Oh please, our families know each other well. And I've been hoping for them to get together. I couldn't be happier. Exactly, so familiar with each other. No need for so many formalities, my dad chimed in. Louis was dressed in a formal suit, hair slicked back, sitting upright. You're surprisingly quick, I said, sitting next to him and grabbed a shrimp dumpling. He whispered, I figured I should do this while my brother's not around. Didn't want you feeling bad. I just raised my eyebrows, not saying anything else. The parents were deep in wedding talks. I think the 5th sounds perfect, great day for a wedding. Yes, it's a lucky day. Great, settled then. Louis and I exchanged a look, a bit dumbfounded. Why are they more eager than us? Louis leaned in and whispered, probably afraid we'll back out. It actually made sense. My mom often complained about us young folks being less keen on marriage. These days, Louis and I are busy trying on wedding outfits, picking venues, writing invitations. Felix and Dale are off on a trip to Linton, posting cheerful updates every day. While waiting for Louis to change suits, I got a bit lost in thought looking at their photos, with the ocean in the background. Originally, I had planned to visit Linton with Louis. I'd even mentioned it to Dale. Linton's a coastal city. I found some videos online and shared them with her. I had planned to go on my birthday, but then Dale twisted her ankle and I was helping her out, so it got postponed. Didn't expect them to go instead. What are you looking at? Louis came out in a sharp black suit, smiling slightly. I didn't hide it, showed him my phone. He fastened his cuff buttons, looked up at me, and I said, let me help. Once the buttons were set, he glanced at the photos, then put my phone away, asking, want to go? I shook my head at first, then nodded, yeah. Even though Louis and Felix are twins, after a while you can really tell them apart. Felix is always aloof, above it all, impatient. Louis has eyes like his mom's, bright and warm, smiles a lot, and is always easygoing. 3. It's not because they went, so I want to go too. I've wanted to go for a long time, I said with a determined look in my eyes. Hearing this, Louis pushed me towards the mirror and said, okay, I know. In the floor-length mirror, we looked like a perfect couple. We just fit. The saleslady standing by chimed in, "The lady and gentleman are a perfect match. How about this one? Do you like it?" he asked, slightly lowering his head to meet my eyes. I thought for a moment, feeling a bit conflicted, and said, "I just feel like it's not that stunning." I gestured with my fingers. "It's missing a little something." Louis chuckled, his eyes sparkling under the crystal chandelier. "Do you and the lady have any favorites among these wedding dresses and suits?" The store manager approached us, noticing our hesitation, and thoughtfully said, "You see, in a few days we'll have some wedding dresses coming from abroad. Can you guys wait until then? I assure you these dresses are top tier. We've got photos from the designer, and we can also explain the designer's concepts to you," she added. "Can we?" I looked at Louis questioningly, and he nodded. I smiled and agreed, sure. A few days later, the dresses arrived, and the store manager called us to try them on. Louis had some last-minute work at the office, so I told him not to worry about picking me up, and that I could head to the boutique myself. Just as I was about to leave, Dale walked up to me with a bag, her face glowing with excitement. Seeing that I was heading out, she casually asked, "Adora, are you going somewhere?" I didn't answer her and instead asked what she needed from me. She smiled and handed me the bag. "Here's some local goodies for you. Adora, Lim City is really just like in the video you sent me. The sea is endless and so picturesque. By the way, why didn't you like my posts?" She excitedly shared her experiences in Lim City. At that moment, I looked closely at this person I've known for years, realizing she felt like a stranger. Suddenly, her words came to a halt as she noticed the diamond ring on my middle finger. Her expression turned a bit odd as she remarked, "Adora, you're not supposed to wear a ring on your middle finger. Take it off. By the way, when did you get this ring? It's gorgeous." I glanced at the 10-carat diamond ring, a gift from Louis. He said our wedding plans were too rushed to have an engagement, but he insisted on having some ceremony, so he took me to choose a ring. Honestly, when I compared a 1-carat to a 10-carat ring, the bigger one was definitely more stunning. I know I said simply, "But what?" Before she could finish, I cut her off with a forced smile. "I'm getting married." "What?" Her face froze as she blurted out, "How is it possible so soon? Have you gotten over Felix?" Realizing her words, she looked awkwardly at me. But I felt nothing, just pity for not seeing her true colors sooner. She assumed I couldn't have moved on from Felix so quickly, yet she stood here sharing about her happy times with him. She latched onto my arm and pleaded, "Come on, Adora, don't be mad at me. Didn't you say if you got married I'd be your bridesmaid? I haven't even met the groom." She clearly meant she wanted to meet my fiancé. Some people love having other people's things. They get a kick out of getting something from someone else. I don't know if Dale genuinely likes Felix, but I'm curious if she's ever genuinely liked Louis, the guy who would drive miles to school just because she asked. I smiled at her, of course. "Really? Then let's go." We had been delayed by Dale, so Louis arrived at the boutique before me. When Dale saw Louis, her cheerful smile vanished. In disbelief, she asked why Louis was there. With her eyes wide open, I stepped forward and wrapped my arm around Louis's. It was obvious what I was doing. Louis glanced at me with a touch of frustration but played along, saying, "We're getting married on the 5th of next month. You're welcome to join us." "No way." Dale shook her head in disbelief, looking at Louis, but she couldn't finish her sentence. She wanted to say, "Didn't you used to like me? Right?" I looked at her innocently and asked Dale why not. If she could be with Felix overnight, why couldn't we? Just as the atmosphere grew tense, Dale's phone rang. She snapped out of it and fumbled for her phone. While she took her call, I sat on the couch as the sales associate laid out the newly arrived wedding dresses before me. I ate from the fruit bowl, pointing at her now pale face as I spoke to Louis. "See, even she knows it's wrong. There's no such thing as truly understanding someone else. Hey, do you think she likes you too?" Louis rolled his eyes at me. "No." He looked at the 5 wedding dresses, sighing, then asked, "Any of these catch your eye?" Reminded, I lifted my head to look at them. Right away, I loved the dress in the middle, adorned with jewels perfectly, exuding romance and elegance. Under the lights, the way the diamonds shimmered reminded me of the starry sky and sea. Seeing me fixated on the dress, Louis waved his hand in front of my face. "Go on, try it. Getting married might not be every girl's dream, but wearing a wedding dress certainly is." Outside, Dale's voice still came through in drips and drabs. Louis responded occasionally. Just before I came out, Dale asked Louis, you weren't like this with me before. Why are you so cold to me now? Can't we at least be friends? 4. I stopped the store clerk from pulling back the curtain, listening closely. I didn't want to be left alone at next month's wedding. You're funny. Should I be all friendly with my brother's girlfriend? Not appropriate, especially since I'm about to get married. I gave the clerk a look, and she pulled the curtain open. The conversation outside halted when I appeared. Seeing their stunned expressions, including Felix who rushed in, I felt completely satisfied. If I've impressed them, the money spent was worth it. As I admired myself, Louis leaned over to whisper, why do you think those two suddenly showed up? Let's take some pictures, we look so handsome and beautiful in this mirror. Louis bragged next to me. Just as I was about to grab the phone for a picture, Felix, who had caught his breath, suddenly spoke up. You guys are getting married? How come I didn't know? After saying this, he relaxed as his tense eyebrows eased up. Louis, Adora might be clueless, but are you clueless too? You're rushing into marriage without telling mom and dad. What's going to happen if this gets out? Stop with the childish tantrums. Dale, who didn't look good at first, seemed to find this reasonable and looked a bit better. Felix, as Louis's brother, didn't know about our marriage, showing it was all our own doing. Call mom and dad, Louis said calmly, not arguing, just staring at him. Felix, seeing we weren't panicking, turned to me with pale lips. Is it true? It is. He didn't believe it, so he called our uncle and aunt right there. The result confirmed it, we were indeed getting married. Under the dazzling lights we stood apart. No words exchanged. Felix glanced at me, bewildered. I stood behind Louis, meeting his gaze. Suddenly I didn't understand. If he didn't like me, why did his face turn pale hearing about my wedding? I instinctively grasped Louis's sleeve. Feeling it, he turned to reassure me with a pat. Can you leave now? At this, they awkwardly stared at each other. Dale managed a difficult smile. Adora, didn't you say you wanted me to be a bridesmaid? In the green years, Dale's shy smiles matured into a now sophisticated look. But back then, Dale held my hand and sincerely promised, no matter who gets married, we'll be each other's bridesmaids, watching and supporting as we walk towards happiness. Dale, are you still that girl wanting to see me happy? No, you're not. Maybe realizing past friendships fade if you're no longer true friends brought a sour, empty feeling. Quietly said no. It was like saying goodbye to a memory. Dale's face turned pale immediately, and she ran a few steps. I didn't know how genuine her calls were. It didn't matter anymore. The closer we got to the wedding dress, the more prepared everything became with our families helping out. I saw Dale again at my coffee shop. She was in a brown coat, hair curled, looking elegant. Seeing me approach didn't make her stop. She called out, Adora, I regret it. Her eyes were a little red looking at me, but I stayed silent. Gritting her teeth, she went on, Adora, Louis doesn't love you. You won't be happy marrying him. So what? I replied sarcastically, do you want him back? Aren't you with Felix? Louis hadn't told me they broke up. She was startled by my questions, her eyes evasive. But she still insisted, asking, has Louis ever driven dozens of miles just to take you home? Made you brown sugar water? Bought you spicy hot pot in the middle of the night because you wanted it? Fought for you? Told you he likes you? I'm doing this for your own good. Don't gamble your happiness to get back at me. Oh, it sounded so sincere, as if being my friend. Yet all those words simply meant she wanted it both ways. I scoffed, what, trying to have your cake and eat it too? I'm not, she firmly denied any such intention. Casually I said, first, my home's in the north, no need for long drives. Second, everything you mention will happen to me too in the future, except the fighting. And Dale, you can clearly detail everything Louis did for you. You know how good he is to you. But you chose Felix. I continued, you just can't stand seeing me happy. You're not that into Felix, you just liked him because I did, relishing that sense of superiority and victory. 5. You know what? I saw an old picture of us. I told her, pausing on each word, I honestly regret having met you and being friends with you. Let's not contact each other anymore. At that moment the store wasn't busy. After I took a few steps, Dale seemed to lose it behind me, almost hysterical. Adora, just admit it. You're jealous of me. You're jealous that Louis likes me, and even Felix, whom you love so much, is crazy about me. You'll never get anything. Just then, the server brought over an iced Americano. I picked it up and splashed it. Ah! She let out an ear-piercing scream. Feeling awake now? I wiped my hands with a napkin, gave the server an apologetic smile. Sorry about that. No worries, nice job, boss, she said before running back. Adora, how dare you do this to me? Dale looked a mess, and her usually perfect features were twisted in a snarl. If you keep barking, the next one's going to be hot. I chuckled and walked inside. Later, while having lunch, I talked to Louis about what happened that morning. His face grew dark, and his voice was filled with frustration. Don't you think they're crazy? Seriously messed up. At the office, Dale won't leave me alone, always pretending to bump into me. And at home, my brother's always questioning why we're getting married if we don't like each other. I'd been enjoying some peace lately, completely unaware of everything happening with him. Why didn't you tell me? Ugh, he scratched his head, looking a bit pathetic. I've seen how tired you are planning the wedding. As soon as you get home, you crash. I didn't want to annoy you with those two weirdos. Some folks just love wild thrills over the pure stuff, I remarked, propping my head on my hand and watching his stressed expression. Do you have no feelings for Dale anymore? 5 years, you know. Suddenly his face shifted. Adora, I'm warning you. If you dare leave me alone at the altar, you're dead. All right, easy there, king of desperation, I grinned. I'm just asking. I wouldn't risk hoping he'd like me in a month after 5 years of zero signals. Exactly. What are you thinking? He pouted. It's a mystery. Maybe it's, you communicate with God, that's faith. God talks to you. He suddenly said something out of the blue, catching me off guard. He laughed. You're out of your mind, aren't you? Huh? I asked, is this some new inside joke? Let's play some games tonight. You can be Master E. Wow. I gave him a side eye. That night, I stayed up late drinking with some old friends and got pretty buzzed. Lying on the sofa, there was this nagging dream about someone relentlessly ringing my doorbell like it was doomsday. Suddenly, I snapped back to consciousness and slowly opened my eyes. The doorbell was actually ringing. Huh, not a dream then. I stood up, a bit wobbly, held onto the wall and staggered over to open the door. Standing there, looking miserable, was Felix. Mom told me weddings are joyful events, can't have bad vibes. I frowned, ready to shut the door, but Felix grabbed it. His eyes were red and he asked, teeth clenching, Adora, are you really going to marry Louis? Have you really thought it through? He loves Dale. You won't be happy together. His face was twisted with pain. Adora, I don't want you to ruin your happiness out of spite to get back at me. Hearing this, I squinted my eyes, swallowed my nausea, and pronounced each word clearly. I'm serious. I'm marrying Louis. I thought it over. Louis treats me well. When you guys refuse to take photos with me and always kill the vibe when we hang out, he stands up for me. He's happy to go take pictures, doesn't get annoyed. I could do that too. He suddenly pleaded urgently. I wondered what was going through Felix's mind as he said this. He continued, Adora, I really regret it. I didn't understand my own feelings. When I heard you were marrying Louis, it hurt really badly. I got scared. I never thought about a future without you. I couldn't hold back anymore and ended up throwing up all over him. Ugh, that's disgusting. He stopped talking, his face turning ghostly pale. Ugh, sorry bro. Unbeknownst to Felix, Louis had just shown up. His smile slightly devilish. You know you're asking for trouble, coming to see your future sister-in-law in the middle of the night. What if people get the wrong idea? Think about Adora here. Felix's eyes were wide with disbelief, words struggling to come out as Louis shut the door. In the bathroom, he gently wiped my mouth with a towel and cleaned off the residue, a softness in his eyes. Grabbing his shirt, I mumbled, when did you get here? How much did you see and hear? He chuckled, his chest shaking with laughter. Just when you opened the door. Oh. With the bright bathroom light, he asked suddenly, and that thing about taking photos? My mind was a bit hazy. What? You know, when we took photos. Oh, lots of times. When we go out, we always pick spots and they're never satisfied. They get grumpy about my pics, too tired, crappy places. Ugh, then don't come. Just sleep at home or have coffee at a cafe. Why even bother coming? Louis gently wiped my face. Okay, no more tears. Suddenly, I looked up and saw the warmth in his expression. I motioned for him to lean in. With a smile, he brought his ear close to my mouth. I said with a pout, honestly, there were so many times I didn't want to have a crush on Felix anymore. But then I'd remember him riding a beat-up bike to get me a new dress, and I'd think just hang in there a bit longer. Louis silently patted my back, and I said, another reason is, back then I was the one who said we should go after both of them together. I see you working so hard to chase after Dale. I didn't want to kill your vibe. Hearing that, he laughed with exasperation, first time hearing loyalty is a thing in chasing people. You little drunkard talking nonsense. He jokingly muted me with his hand and then went to grab clothes for me. Can you do it yourself? I nodded enthusiastically, I can. Almost ended up headfirst into the bathtub because I was off balance. Louis quickly grabbed me, surprised, whoa, watch out there. Then he bit his lip, mumbling to himself softly, oh well, won't matter. You'll see it all eventually. Put your hands properly. Not a chance, dirty scoundrel. I'm feeling my way back. I'm not. I'm your future husband. Who's the husband? Louis. Who's the wife? Adora. On our wedding day, Louis and I feared the other might run, so we video called each other, holding our phones. Once the ceremony started, my dad walked me step by step to Louis and placed my hand in his. His hand was wide and warm, and through my veil, I saw his face beaming with joy, almost overflowing. Felix and Dale were right about a few things. Louis and I initially got together just to make a pair, so our years of effort wouldn't seem so pathetic. But eventually, we were genuinely serious about going the distance. We provided each other enough emotional value. Discussing who suggested the hike didn't end in a fight. We just enjoy the scenery together, take photos, and make it to the top. Eventually, Louis and Dale didn't work out, both ended up cheating. Not sure if it started when Louis got involved with his secretary, or when Dale went on a trip with an old college friend and shared a hotel room. The people they cheated with kept changing. In any case, both of them caught each other in the act. Things got messy, big public blowouts, even making the local news. It embarrassed their families to no end. I came home from a trip to find Louis cooking for me, watching his busy silhouette in the kitchen. Couldn't help but hug him. He laughed and asked, what's this about? I pressed my face against his back, muttering, I just realized. Loyalty and patience in love with a conscience at the end. How hard is it really? Adora, did you cheat? He turned around in a panic, holding a knife. I opened my mouth speechless. Are you crazy? Phew. He pretended to be relieved. I said, if we'd ended up with them back then, would we have been cheated on too? Change that to definitely. He didn't even want to talk about his brother. He's already driven our parents crazy. Shareholders in the company have called multiple meetings to fire him as VP. My dad can't protect him this time. Good thing I decided to start my own business. Otherwise I'd be stressed out too with the stock prices tanking. Someone not committed to their relationship won't change just because of who they're with. I watched Louis preparing my favorite soy braised chicken and swallowed hard. Last year we visited Lincheng, a coastal city famous for seafood. But when I got there, I fell in love with things like poached chicken, scallion oil chicken, soy braised chicken, salt-baked chicken, and shredded chicken. Soy braised chicken was my favorite. The rich savory sauce soaking into every bite. The meat tender and smooth. One bite, unforgettable. Thanks, hubby. I tiptoed to give him a peck on the cheek. He froze for a moment, then pointed at his lips and said, these say they want a kiss too. I waved a grand gesture, kiss it all. The end.